Healey, and welcome to Emwigsters Bookshelf. This is Ink and Inspiration, a series where I chat to authors about their books, their creative journeys, and stories that behind the stories. If you love books and the people who write them, you're in the right place. Let's jump in and tell us who you are and a little bit about your book.
My name is Annalise Healey, or I often go by Anna Healey, or AL Healey is another one that I go by on my books. I kind of try to differentiate myself for all of the genres that I write in. I am an aspiring teacher who's going into my first year, and I write stories about pretty much anything that takes my fancy. Yeah.
That's good. It's always good to we all need more teachers coming into the profession, so you're gonna have lots of fun.
Yeah, so it's going to be my first year this year, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay. It's going to be a lot of learning, but I'm sure you're going to be fantastic. What inspired your book Beneath the Burning Sun?
So Beneath the Burning Sun, like most of my books, was inspired by a dream that I had. So the dream was mostly centered around the environment between this prisoner of war camp that was in the middle of a desert, which was just so stark in my mind. I remember just being in the dream and it was like, so just like such a different environment to anything that I was used to. It was so interesting. And then like you look in the prisoner of war camp and you look over the fence and then there's just this like futuristic dystopian city where all of the guards of the camp lived in. I just remember having the stark contrast between those two places and just being like, this would be such a good place to write a book set in. So the dream definitely inspired it. And then actually, pretty much like the day that I started writing the book, I found a cover that one of my author friends were creating. And I was like, that is my book's cover. So I got the cover like right as I started writing the book. So then it also heavily inspired the book with just a lot of the imagery and all of that was in it, and definitely shaped the way that my characters were in it as well.
Other than just having like the scene and where the setting was, did you meet your character in your mind pretty quickly, or did they come a bit after?
Yeah, so I actually came out of the dream with just one sentence in my brain, which was just going to be the nickname
Oh,
of
yeah.
the character, which of the male main character, which is foreign, because I just had this idea that that is what meant foreigner in female main characters like mine, and so in her language, she was calling him foreign because she's seen him as a foreigner to her town.
It's
Yeah,
pretty.
and
Makes
that
it
was
pretty.
about that
Makes
was
it
all that
pretty.
I.
At least you had your characters and your setting pretty quickly, though. Makes
Yeah,
it
it's like I didn't really have much of the plot, but it was like I had the characters and like just like who they were, their basic identities
easier.
and the setting, and I was like, I can work with anything else. Like they will share the story along the way.
So you're more of a plotter than a pantser, or a bit of
I
both?
I'm a bit of both. For
Yeah.
my first, I'd say my first three books, I was very much a pantser, and
Yeah.
I didn't like plot a single line. But then for Beneath the Burning Sun, I was kind of really in the middle, and I had a few ideas planned out, but it was still just like the characters were sharing the story as I was like exploring it with them. Now for a pretty good idea of what's happening
Yeah.
there.
That's always helpful, I find.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
been definitely like a learning curve, just being able to see the different ways that people do it and find what works for me. And I find it's different for all of the books I write,
Yeah.
whether I know what's happening or not.
It depends how cooperative the
Yeah.
characters are going to be. Whether or
Yeah,
not they will let you plan it and follow you, or like, no, I'm going to take you elsewhere.
definitely. I mean,
What's
even
really
with writing Beneath the Burning, until I was in the middle of it, and then I was like, oh, I didn't know like that plot twist was happening.
At least you got it makes it more entertaining and fun to write for you as well. At least you're not bored.
Yeah.
What drew you to writing in the first place?
Well, I suppose as for most people, it definitely started out with being a reader. So I
Yeah.
like to say I kind of always read, but this definitely picked up in high school. And at this time, I had a lot of my parents' friends recommending books to me. So a lot of those just really got me more into reading, and that continued throughout high school. And then I remember this one moment, like I'd enjoyed writing stories or in school, but it wasn't something that I really did. I mean, I dabbled in a bit of fan fiction and
Yeah.
short stories, but really like considered myself a writer. But then one day I was sitting in a HSC biology course, which I was dropping out of to be able to take up English extensions. And I was sitting there and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, because I wasn't doing the coursework because I was dropping out. I was like, why don't I just write a story? And then I
Yeah.
suppose I kind of challenged myself then to actually write a novel and just finish one. And so I remember the very last day of my last HSC exam, I sat down, I picked up the pen, and I just started writing this story. And yeah, so it just started from there, just with a challenge to myself that I was actually just going to write a novel. And at that point, I had no plans of publishing any of my books, but I just wanted to finish one.
Yeah. You're much more successful than a lot of beginner writers because you finished at least finished a few more novels than they
Yeah.
have. What is your process for writing your book? So you touched on about the dream, and then do you go straight into starting to write, or do you do a bit more of a research about as well?
Yeah, so I suppose this changes for like all of my books. Like as I said, my first few books was definitely just I just went straight into the writing and seeing what was happening there. With Beneath the Burning Sun, I kind of had a bit of an unconventional approach because I did like have the cover and I kind of like jumped ahead in parts. So then I had the basic premise and I started kind of plotting, but pretty much I was just writing down just like a one sentence summary of each of the scenes I had
Yeah.
in my mind, which half of those ended up getting scrapped as I was writing the drafts anyway. But yeah, I say most of the time I just like dive right into the story, and as it comes up, I'll kind of do a little bit of research. Like as I was going through Beneath the Burning Sun, I was doing more research, obviously into a desert setting and all of like sandstorms and that cause. And I live in Australia, we do have deserts here, but
Yeah.
it's not something I live in all of the
No.
time. So it's definitely something new that I had to familiarize myself with.
I guess if you're stuck with researching before you even write, then you're never going to get to
Yeah,
writing it as
it would
well.
just be too much to
Explore,
research.
explore with your characters. Make it
Yeah,
easier. How much of character building do you do beforehand?
that's such an interesting thing because I say I find that I build my characters in two ways, which the
Mhm.
first way is through my dreams, and I'm very much a lucid dreamer and I can control aspects of my dream. I'll be like going through that, I'll be like, that didn't seem right. Let me wind that back and retry that. Um, so
At least you can explore your plot before beforehand.
yeah, no, I very much do. So I get in the perspective of each of my characters and I can play out the same scene from different characters' perspectives. And the trouble with that is just once I actually wake up remembering to write it down and not just rely on my brain to remember that. So that's the first way that I do it is through being in their mind and seeing through their eyes the
Mm.
scenes playing out and just seeing. I feel I get mostly a sense of their relationships and how they interact with others through that way. And then another way that I develop my characters is through your general like character sheet, and I'll have all of the questions about like what their physical appearance is like, what their goals are, and all of that. But when I'm filling out those, it's more like I'm in interview with my characters. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm asking them these questions and seeing how they respond. And sometimes I'll be myself interviewing them as the author. The other times I'll be like a different character and usually a love interest if that's relevant to the story, interviewing the characters and building their character from that.
That's always a good way to to build characters as well. Do you find yourself pulling bits of and pieces from people you sort of observe in everyday life, or is it
I
pretty much
do.
a standalone sort of
Yeah.
process?
I will say, going through high school with the English extension courses that I did, I remember I had this one whole assessment task that was just based around going out into the wild, into the public, and just people watching and writing down everything that I seen, writing a short story. So I definitely see that I bring in a lot uh, of what other people around me are doing into my stories. And I find, which you might find also being Australian, there's a lot of times where I'll write stuff and that I won't notice that it is so Australian until I'm
Yeah.
with like speed readers and they're just like, what is this? Like, that's a weird thing to say. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, that's just us. Like,
Sorry. Deal with it. I'm an Aussie writer. You gotta live with it. I'm bringing my Aussiness into my world.
Yeah. It's like it's usually the most like mundane things that they'll just like pick up, like, writing about a boiling hot metal slide in a park, or right about
Yeah.
just packing your esky with you somewhere, and they're just like, what? Like that's so random to write down. I'm like, that's
It's
what I
Aussie.
experience.
It's what we do here. Did you have a favorite moment in the book to write? A
Oh, that's
favorite
such a good
scene?
question. I would have to say my favorite moment was when we're meeting Mila, who is one of the main character's sisters. I had no clue she existed until the characters were walking through the gates. They're walking through the gates to the Palace of the Golden Kings, and she's there training in one of the yards, like fighting all of these people. I didn't even know she was going to be there. And then all of a sudden she was there, and I was like, this is what the story was missing. Like, it was this one character. So I feel like that was definitely a favorite moment, just because how much it shocked me and how exciting it was to now be able to explore this character and just see it from the perspective of my characters who were just meeting her for the first time, as I just was as well. So it was definitely a fun moment, as it was just like such a shock.
And I guess it would come across, it comes across in the book as well. It's like, oh, didn't know you were there. I didn't
Yeah.
either.
I was having to go back and over some later drafts and try and make some clues
Yeah.
that our main character wasn't just an only child, because they ended
Like,
up with a few sisters by the end of it. But
you're like,
yeah.
damn it, you made me have to do more work now.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Has writing and publishing books changed the way you see yourself?
Oh, absolutely it has. I feel like I don't know so much as my first few books did. Like it felt like I felt like it was definitely changing how others were seeing me.
Yeah.
But I feel like once I published my third book, which was Amongst These Hallowed Shelves, which is it's a new adult book. Me just blanking on what it is. But yeah, so I finished writing that book, and then I was like, hold up a minute. I think I'm actually creative. And until that point, like I had written 3 books, and I had
Yeah.
never considered myself creative. Like growing up, I did not have a creative bone in my body. And it
Yeah.
got to that point, and I was like, I am actually a creative person. And it wasn't until then that I considered myself a writer, even
Yeah.
though I had like written all of these books. It was just like something with that book made me realize like how big it was and how much of an artistic process it was to go through writing a book. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's definitely highlighted that side of me, which I still struggle with now. Like going into teaching, I'm doing a Bachelor of Education, like K to 12. So I'm doing some of the visual arts
Yeah.
classes, and I'll be in there. I'll like put my artistic ability in terms of visual arts at like a 7-year-old, and I'm like, I just need to remember that my creative skills lie elsewhere.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
think definitely like going through school, like they always highlight like dance, drama, visual arts. They don't really highlight, the creativeness of writing because we're
yeah,
always doing essays and everything as well. And I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm like, I'm when I do visual arts, no clue. I go, you guys are going to be so much better than me. I expect you guys to be so much better than me. This is the lowest example that you can do. Beat
yeah.
me, please.
Yes, that's definitely one thing I would like to change as I go into teaching, is just recognizing more that
Mm.
creative writing is a creative process in that. So yeah.
Yeah. I think you're gonna be since you can prove to show the kids as well, saying you're like, look, I'm creative this way. You don't have to be
Yeah.
the way that sort of with art and everything else, which will be good. Are there any books or authors that inspired you in your writing or to become a writer?
Oh, there would have to be so many. So before I became a writer and became involved in the indie scene, I'd definitely say one of the most influential books when I was really young was the Twilight Saga.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
definitely prompted a lot of my reading going into high school, because it just felt like I found the genre that I liked reading. Um, Obviously, as I got older, that stemmed into authors like Sarah J. Maas and all of that, which I feel like it was just seeing these new worlds and seeing how I could get so invested into a story. I feel like those definitely inspired me early on, both in reading and then as I started looking at fantasy building and looking at all of that, they were heavily inspired me. And now I would say that I am more involved in the indie community. There are still so many authors that inspire me to this day. In particular, a lot of the self publishing ones. And as I am younger myself, I have a lot of the teens that are coming up now, and I see a lot of them as inspiring. Most
Yeah.
important, I'd have to say Hannah Phillips is a big one. She has definitely been a big cheerleader for me as I've been writing my books and seeing what she goes through to be able to write her books. Lucy Franklin is also another one. She last year was her debut year and she published 3 novels in it.
Wow,
So
that's a lot. That's
just
really
seeing that
good.
was like so inspiring. And I think she has at least another 2 planned for this year. So just seeing how dedicated she is to her writing definitely inspires me still to this day.
I guess when you are really in the indie scene as well, like you need the cheerleaders and you need
Yeah.
the support everything. And everyone's so supportive anyway. They all want you to do well. There's no sort of I don't want you to go well because you're writing similar genre to me. That everyone's supportive, which is amazing to see
Yeah,
as well.
definitely. That's definitely been a big thing that I've been looking at, just building that community and getting more involved because and in my personal life, I don't go out much. I don't really talk to people. I mean, I could count my friends on one hand, but if you look at my social life and all of the connections I've made for this author community, it's like really fulfilling in that sense of just everyone is so supportive of each other.
Like selective extrovertedness.
Yes.
I find that a lot of people are the same. Like I'm introverted a lot, but I'll choose to be extroverted for this community, and that's what
Yes,
I'm going to stick
definitely.
with. What advice would you give to a writer working on their first book? And if you were given any advice?
Oh, okay. My advice I would give to someone is just find what works for you.
Mm.
Just because someone does it some way doesn't mean that you have to do it. And just because you did it one way for another book doesn't mean you can't change your process halfway through. It's like, do you like plotting or do you like pantsing? Do you like playing music or not? Do you write chronologically or do you skip through scenes? Like there are so many different ways that people write and people draft. I just think it's so important to just get out there and keep experimenting with all of those to find what works for you.
As long as you get your book finished, or at least the first draft finished, that's the main thing. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter how
definitely.
you do it and what way
Yeah.
you do it. It will be correct for you and how
Yeah,
it's supposed to
definitely.
happen for you. Do you have a favorite writing snack or drink?
Oh, this is a good one. I'm probably going to surprise some people here, but I do not drink coffee. I feel like
Going
it's
with
such
a Australian, everyone assumes coffee. No.
yeah, like so many people just assume coffee, but I cannot stand the taste of coffee. I mean, I might take a Milo, hot
Yep.
or cold, but won't touch a coffee. I mean, some might say it's criminal activity, but it's not that rare that I go for just a cup of plain cow's milk.
Yeah, may as
It's
well.
like so many people in my family just like judge me because I'll just like go and get a cup of milk and they're just like, that is so weird. But I'm like,
I like it. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
I think if some people, I will drink coffee, but it has to be very sweet coffee, like a latte or mocha or something. It has to be very sweet for me to drink it. Can't just drink a plain cup of coffee.
yeah.
Do you play music while you write?
Ooh, I've got to say, on most occasions, I don't play music. It's only really if I'm really trying to block out distractions of those around me, or if I'm in a really emotional scene and really want to like get into the vibe then. And if I am playing music, I kind of have a bit of an eclectic mix of music. I mean, all of my family say that I have the worst music taste ever. Um, which there's definitely times I'm driving along in my car, I'm like, how embarrassing if I crash and then this was just what was playing. But
I don't think anyone cares about the people music taste anyway.
yeah, I just
Oh,
remember my sister's boyfriend crashed his car. I mean, it was a few years back now, right when I was first starting to write my books. But he still remembers to this day the song that was playing. He's like, "Thank God no one was around to like listen to it because he was embarrassed by it."
oh.
Um, but yeah, so definitely my music taste, I would say, is more like indie folk music, and the lesser known the song is pretty much the better
Yep.
in my idea. But yeah, just kind of like those soft, gentle vibes. Mum always says anything that would put you to sleep. So yeah.
It's calming. It gets you into the mindset. That's all that you need with the music, really. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to listen to songs with lyrics because I would sing along. They're
Yeah.
not right at
Is
all.
that yeah, I feel like it has to be like quiet enough where I can like focus in on my book if I want, but then if I come out of a scene, it's still kind of there to kind of keep me in
Yeah.
the mindset. But yeah, definitely can't have things like blaring or big like rock music in my head.
Don't listen to rock music on the best
Yeah.
of times, but yeah, wouldn't want to go coming out of writing a
Yeah.
story.
I just think about how crazy my scenes would be if I was listening to rock music. Because if I am playing music, I'm likely going to throw in a few plot twists for some
Yeah.
reason. Like, I don't know. Music just makes me do crazy things.
Yeah. And my final question is, who has been the biggest supporter of your writing?
I'm gonna say I ask myself this with every single book, and throughout all of my books, my family definitely tries hard to be supporters, but they're not very big readers at all. So it's kind of like I will slowly read your book, but even now it's been like 3 or 4 years since I've published my first one, and none of my parents have read it. I think one of my sisters have read one, and another sister has read another one, but no one has finished all of them yet. So even though they try, it's like they can't really understand it.
Yeah.
And outside of my family, I remember I had this one person who I thought was my biggest supporter. And there was one moment I just finished publishing my first book and I was looking to write my second one. And they made a comment about it being surprising if I was going to finish writing a second one. That kind of made me like take a step back and go, no
Hmm.
one really believes that I can succeed, because up until that moment I was like, oh yeah, they believe that I can do it. And then I was kind of like, do they believe that though? So I think with that book, I definitely took on a lot more responsibility and being my own biggest supporter,
Yeah.
and I definitely took on that role. Definitely now that I've grown a bit more in the community, I see a lot more support within the indie community and in other authors and in my readers, which I would definitely say some of those would be vying for the position of my biggest supporter. If I had to choose one person, I would probably say Hannah Phillips. I was like a meter, I think a few years ago now, and I was working on my book. She was working on her debut novel, and we just kind of clicked over them. And as I've experimented with different genres, they've just been there supporting me the whole way. And I'm so happy that now I get to support them with their adventures, with
Mm.
publishing their books. So, yeah.
It's always good to have the community there that
Yeah.
you've chosen to build as well to support you. It doesn't always have to be your family, but the community that you choose is always the ones that will be there
Yeah.
wanting you to
And I
succeed.
definitely think it's an important lesson to, even if the people directly around you aren't supporting you, there's still people out in the world. Like, we have all of this technology at our hands today. Like, use it and connect with those people that share the same interests. Don't just rely on those that are in the same location as you to be able to share it. So, yeah.
Definitely. Very good.